So this video will be an audio only podcast. The second part, which is on Mitso Jr.'s channel, will be linked in the description below. If you do like to sometimes just listen instead of watch, then I may do these videos a bit more regularly. Also, as I said in a community post a few days ago, I think, if you want to set up a TikTok, Instagram or Twitter page using my clips, then you can. You can take say 1 to 2 3-minute clips. You can either edit over my analysis or just use the video that's on my analysis. Use that to grow your accounts on those platforms, and then you can keep any revenue that you make from it. Just leave a link to the original video or to my channel somewhere so that people can find the full video. And if you want, you can call it something like Atlantis clips, something like that. You can use a name, you can use a logo. So if you do want to start posting on TikTok or Instagram, but you don't want to make your own content, then that might be something that is for you. But before I go any further, let me tell you about the giveaway that OneFootball are doing for the opening weekend of the Premier League season, where you can win a jersey of your choice and a copy of FIFA 23. All you have to do is download the OneFootball app from the link in the description and fill out the form with your information, and then predict the results of 5 of the Premier League matches this weekend, which is Palace Arsenal, Fulham Liverpool, Everton Chelsea, Manchester United Brighton and West Ham Manchester City. So if you fancy your predicting skills for the new Premier League season coming up, then you could bag yourself a new football jersey and FIFA 23. The giveaway closes early Friday morning, so you do have to be quick. So after this video, click the link in the description below, and I'll also leave it in the comment section as well. I'm assuming you're going to say Liverpool or Man City for the title.
I think, yeah, this time I think Liverpool, because the last time the 1 point difference happened, Liverpool won the league the season after that. And if you think when Liverpool also lost the Champions League final, they won the Champions League the season after that. So I think Jurgen Klopp is like a huge mentality. When it comes to mentality, it's huge. So he can know how to create more from these players, and they also did well in the transfer window. So I think Liverpool has a high chance of winning the league compared to City this time.
Oh really? Because originally I was thinking Liverpool, but
Yeah.
now I'm kind of thinking, I do think it's still between City and Liverpool. I just think they're, compared to like the others, I think the only team, I'll come on to the team who I think could potentially challenge later on, but between Liverpool and City, see, I do kind of think that Liverpool, I think it's just because Man City have won the last two. It's the last two they've won? Yeah, they've won the last two.
Last two.
Yeah, you kind of think, oh, there's going to be some point where they slip up, but I just think, especially with Haaland coming in, I think if they didn't sign Haaland, I would probably go with Liverpool. But I just think like the added goals he's going to bring, particularly in games like in big games where it just makes a difference. I think City will win. You know, them big games that sort of decide the season. I can see City winning them, and with Liverpool, I even though I'm not that convinced on Darwin Núñez, but I do think Luis Diaz is going to have a really good season, and like Jota as well. But I just think they're maybe a bit thin in midfield for the whole season. Like they do seem to be a team that pick up like quite a lot of injuries, particularly in midfield, like Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho. So I can see
so
that.
many injuries now as well starting the season.
Yeah. But
like Jota and Keller, Alisson.
Oh yeah, I saw
Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, I saw Alisson, his injury, but yeah, so it's still a close one. I still think it's going to be out of those two. But if I had to make a prediction on points, I think City might win it. But I don't think they're going to run away with it. But I think they may win it by maybe like 5 or 6 points. I don't think it'll be as close as last season, but I do still think there'll be a title race. But I think City will win it. Liverpool second. Are you going for City second?
Yeah, I'm going for City second. I think at the beginning of the season they will dominate the league. They will be first because Haaland will get in so many goals. But I think on the long run, Liverpool will have more maintenance, like compared to City. And I think the players really want to win the league this time compared to City because they won it 2 times, as you said. And this is a factor as well.
Yeah. See, I do kind of agree with that, but then I also kind of agree, like, every player wants to win the league. Like, and City, the thing about City is that their squad depth is just so good that they don't really have to prioritise competitions. But with you, I've got the opposite opinion. So I don't think City are going to start that well. I think
Hmm.
the team I think is going to come third is going to be Tottenham, which is probably a surprise for a lot of people. But I think at
Third.
the start of the season, maybe up to about November, it's going to be
Mm.
Tottenham and Liverpool first and second, and City are going to be a bit behind. And I do think Tottenham will be in the title race until about maybe February, just because
Oh,
I just think Conte's system, like he did it at Inter Milan, he did it at Chelsea, did it at Juventus, even with Italy during the Euro, like during Euro 2016, I think it was. Like seems to be able to, once he gets the players he wants, he seems to be able to set up a team for particularly for a league season. And I think
yeah.
considering they've got Kane and Son, I just see like just see them being better than Chelsea, Man United, and Arsenal.
I think he's very serious this season because the preseason he's taken the team from the beginning this time, and I think he has got plans. And obviously, the Champions League makes the players want to stay. And I've read like yesterday he's negotiating with Harry Kane now to stay because if he stays, he will stay. Antonio Conte will stay with Tottenham. So yeah, but for me, Arsenal is third.
Oh, you're going with
I
Arsenal?
say, yeah, I go with Arsenal because what happened last season when they started at the bottom of the league and then they just kept going up and up and up and they were very close to the Champions League towards the end of the season. I think this time and the transfer market business was great for them, like getting Gabriel Jesus and also the midfielder Fabio Oliveira, I think
Yeah,
they got
Vieira.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's been great business for Mikel Arteta, and I see Arsenal third and Tottenham fourth.
Yeah. So third, I'm going with Tottenham. Um, I think it will be. I don't think Tottenham will be near. I think they'll be maybe about 10 points off Liverpool in second, but I think they'll be
Mm,
well clear of fourth. You know that team like what Chelsea did. I think it was who finished third last year. Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea.
yeah.
You know that team who's sort of not in the title race, but they're not really in the top four race. They're sort of
Mm,
stuck in the middle. So I
yeah.
think that's going to be Tottenham. My fourth place is. See, I'm weighing up between Man United and Chelsea, but I'm thinking the only thing I have about think about Chelsea is if they start the season poorly, Tuchel could easily get sacked, and they bring in a manager who just like goes on a really good run of form, like what
Mm,
happened after Lampard. So I think that's always like the issue. Like you could think a manager's gonna like start really bad, but then you've also got to factor in that potentially he gets sacked, and it changes.
yeah.
So that's the only thing I'm thinking about Chelsea. Um, I do like Sterling as a signing, but I do still think they need like a strike. If they had got like a, I'm trying to think who they could reasonably get, but like see how City have gone and got Haaland. If
Yeah.
Chelsea had gone and got like a centre forward who maybe
Instead of
someone,
Lukaku.
yeah, like maybe Lukaku, the player they thought Lukaku was going to be,
Mm,
or someone like Lautaro Martinez, I'd probably say Chelsea, and I'd even put him maybe into third. But I
mm,
think Koulibaly's a good signing. I think Sterling's a good signing, but I just don't think over the whole season they're going to be able to stick with the top three, and I think they're going to be drawn into the top four race. And I do think Tuchel will come under a bit of pressure
mm.
midway through the season, but I reckon he'll probably pull it back and get top four.
Yeah, you see, I was thinking Chelsea would get a decent season with all the new signings, but then like all the media talks that Tuchel did, like he was very angry with the players and saying that players are not taking it seriously and all this stuff. If you
Mm.
read the news like a couple of days ago, so I don't think the room like the changing rooms right now is not good in Chelsea. So I don't see it continuing towards the end of the season in a high like mood and going for the league and all this stuff. I think they will challenge for a title, of course. Like out of 4 titles, they will get one. I think they will get one,
Mm.
but I don't see the league yeah, not third, not fourth. I go fifth.
Oh, right, okay. So who did you go for fourth again?
Yeah, I went Arsenal third and Tottenham fourth.
Oh, Tottenham fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Man United. See, I do want to go fourth, and I do think Ten Hag's doing a good job. But I just think like the squad that Man United have from last season is just going to be too. Unless like in the last month of the season, United go and get like 3 or 4 players. Like the
Mm,
squad is still like pretty thin in certain areas, particularly up front. You've still got to rely on players like Fred and McTominay. You've still got players like Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, who are probably going to have to play like a decent amount, and I think that's just going to be the major issue. And I think in most other seasons, maybe Man United do get top four, because I don't think they're
yeah.
necessary. I think they're definitely going to improve from last season, but I think just how strong, particularly Tottenham are, and
Mm.
even like Chelsea. Like even though I do think I agree with what you said about like I don't think as a collective they're going to do that well. But I do think they have the individual players to like sort of just pull it out the hat and get over the line. So I'm going to go with Man United fifth, and I'm going to go with Arsenal sixth because the reason I go with Arsenal sixth is I feel like they're kind of overrated from last season because uh, Tottenham and Man United both had terrible starts to the season. Tottenham sacked their manager, uh, and Man United basically just gave up on the season. So
Yeah.
Arsenal, it wasn't really that hard for Arsenal to be the fifth best team.
Yeah, and they bottled it at the end as well.
Yeah, yeah, and
But for
also,
me, Man United prediction was very hard because I don't know what's going to happen in the next few days. Like it's not very clear, and if they kept the transfer they did so far, I don't think they will do very well in the season. Like I'm so excited to see what Erik Ten Hag will do, but so far with these signings, I don't see them like in a 30 league in a 30 match league. They will not be so good compared to the depth of Man City, Liverpool, and all this. So I see them dropping points with the lower teams like say Brighton, all these
yeah, yeah,
teams. Yeah,
yeah. I think the season after this season, I think you'll start to see Ten Hag side like really start to like looking good, and I think you will see glimpses of it this season. But I
yeah,
just think having to rely on players like Rashford, Martial, the players who let the side down last year, is still a bit of a
mm.
concern. I know people are saying like, oh, they're back to their best, but it is pre-season. Like,
Pre-season. Yeah,
pre-season's kind of just like training, really.
mm.
I think pre-season's closer to training than it is to like a Premier League match day. So I don't take like too much into it. That's just why I just don't really analyze the games from like a tactical point of view, because I just
Mm.
think like come the start of the season, it like completely changes.
Yeah. And because managers are restricted to do so many changes between the halves as well, so you don't get to see the starting 11 play 90 minutes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this will not happen in preseason. So they should just change their tactics and stuff depending on the players on the pitch.
Hmm.
So you don't get to see a full view of what will happen throughout the season. That's why I think, like in the big games, top six, Man United versus Liverpool, Tottenham, and all these, I think Man United will do very good, but I see them dropping points against the lower table teams.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what happened with Liverpool. I think in 2018. I think in 2018, yeah, where we finished like fourth, third, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was. I think 2017-18 was City won
Yeah,
it, United second. Maybe I think Liverpool did finish third or fourth that year. Yeah.
Liverpool did so good, like in the matches with the top six. But when it comes to the lower sides, I remember them losing like or drawing with West Brom, all these teams, they drop so many points against them.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
happens when you don't have so much depth and when their managers are not having like enough times with the players to prepare them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do see that being an issue for Man United. I don't think it's been a bad transfer window, but I think in order to be able to compete, United needed an amazing transfer window.
Yeah,
Like if you look at the signings they've brought in, so Lissandro Martinez, Malacia, and Ericsson.
Ericsson. Yeah,
I think only really Lissandro Martinez is like a game changer for the season, really. Like,
yeah,
if you look at signings, a signing could be like a good signing, but is it like a complete game changer? Like, I feel like Haaland is like a game changer. Like, he completely changes like
yeah.
City's title chances, as was like Van Dijk for Liverpool. And I do think like, especially if the Ronaldo situation, a lot of that does depend on like because if Man United can keep Ronaldo and then he like just comes back and he's the same as last season, then United have got like a 15, 20 goal a season striker. But if he goes and they don't replace him adequately, you've lost a lot of goals, and then you've got to rely on Martial and Rashford to make that up.
Yeah, I think that's the issue because now people are saying who will start, Martial or Ronaldo, if Ronaldo stays. But I don't know how this will happen for Erik Ten Hag because Martial is doing very well in the preseason. So will they both start for Man United or not? And I don't see Manchester United replacing Ronaldo if he left the club now
Yeah,
because Martial is playing well. So and Martial would not do as good as Ronaldo did last season, for example.
yeah, yeah.
So that's the issue. And also, I don't see how Bruno Fernandes and Ericsson will play together. Like
I don't
what Erik
think.
Ten Hag is thinking exactly.
Yeah, I don't think Ericsson's going to be a star. I think he's like a player to come off the bench when United need a goal when they need to
Yeah,
like break down a deep defensive block. Like I don't see him being. I think that's why the Ten Hag wants De Jong, because he wants to play someone like McTominay or Fred or Garner alongside De Jong with Fernandes in front. And I think Eriksen's best position is going to be in front, in the same position as Fernandes. So I don't see them starting together. But
I don't think he asked for Eriksen, to be honest, because it's a free transfer. So I think the board just went for him because he's available, and I don't think he's fitting Erik ten Hag's ideas so well.
Yeah.
Like I see Van de Beek having more playtime than Eriksen, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's more just a squad player, really, like because he's probably not. His salary can't be that high, and on a free as well. So it's sort of like just a player. Like he's replacing someone like Mata, because Mata left. Mata was like a squad player, and you're bringing in a similar kind of creator, probably a better player than Mata, but on much lower wages. So it's probably it's not an amazing signing, but I still think it's like a decent signing. But compared to like what Tottenham have done, where Tottenham seem to be like, I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham have another big signing. They've signed Perisic, who I think is going to be really good as a left wing back. Jed Spence as well. They've got Eric Dyer, Romero, who looked really good last season in that back three. They've got Bissouma, who's going to be playing. I assume he's going to be playing alongside Bentancur. And then obviously you've got Kane and Son. Then you've got either Kulusevski, Richarlison. You've got Lucas Moura. So I just think like compared to like even Tottenham, United aren't.
They did so good in the transfer window.
Yeah. Tottenham have had a really good transfer window. But the reason I went with Arsenal as the Arsenal in sixth is just because I just think the managers above him the managers above Arsenal are much better than Arteta. Like I just think Arteta is. I don't think he's a terrible manager. I just don't think he's going to be able to compete, especially with like Ten Hag, Conte, and Tuchel, and especially not.
Yeah, sure, they're above him.
Yeah, and even though they have brought in Jesus, he's more of a creative sort of forward. He's not going to bag them like 20 goals a season. So they still haven't really replaced Aubameyang in that sense.
Also, for Jesus, I don't think we saw his potential in City, because even when Aguero left, Guardiola didn't play him in the striker position like for a whole season. So I think with Arsenal, he will score more than he scored with City.
Yeah, I do still think he'll get between maybe 10 and maybe like 11 and 14 goals. I reckon he'll get. But also you got the Partey situation. So I like, even though he's not been charged with anything, I just can't see him, especially with the season so close. Like I just think I don't see him. I think they're just going to leave him out, and like without Partey in midfield, they're going to have to rely on Xhaka. They've got Fabio Vieira, but even he's not really a central midfielder. He's more of like a creative midfielder. And even like just over the course of a whole season, Arsenal are just prone to having like patches where they completely switch off.
Yeah. For me, like Man United, if they did something in the next couple of days, they will go up like fourth. If they signed like 2-3 players, De Jong included, and if they manage to keep Ronaldo, of course. Yeah, I think this will encourage all the players to to play better in the season, and I see them finishing like fourth or third, but not higher than that.
So who do you think, in terms of like individual seasons? Actually, let's do. Who do you think from like a individual player point of view is going to be like a standout player this year?
For each team or for the whole league?
Or just for like the top six, really? Like which players? Obviously, there's going to be players like.
From each team.
Yeah. So from.
Yeah. So for Liverpool, I think Salah is the main player. I think he's doing very good this preseason as well, and also for the World Cup, he will not be playing. So I think he will have enough rest between the games in the mid-season, whereas all the players will go for the World Cup, so they'll be tired.
Yeah.
For City, I think De Bruyne, if he didn't get injured this season, because last season he got injured as well, but when he came back, he changed the whole game for City.
Yeah.
So I see De Bruyne having getting back to his numbers like 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons. Say for Arsenal, I think Gabriel Jesus will do something for Arsenal this season. I'll go for him.
Yeah, I think
maybe 15 goals or something, and a couple of assists, of course, because Saka will do he will improve from what we saw from him last season. So I think this partnership will be good for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think so for Liverpool, I think Luis Diaz is going to have a really good season. not has he been? I'm not really up to date with like all the injuries and fitness and everything, but
That's
um,
fit.
all right, yeah. So I just think Diaz is gonna. I think he's gonna be like, you know how Mane went from like a pretty decent wide player to like a goal scoring forward. I think
Yeah.
that's gonna happen with Luis Diaz, and
Mm.
so yeah. So Luis Diaz I go for Liverpool. I think this is my bold prediction. I think Luis Diaz is gonna score more goals than Mo Salah.
Oh.
So I could look stupid in like a halfway through the season when Salah's got about 15. But yeah, Liverpool Diaz, Man City. I think actually Haaland's gonna have like not an underwhelming season, but compared to what people think he's gonna do, because he actually picked up quite a lot of injuries last year for Dortmund, and
Mm.
Pep's the type of manager to just how he keeps switching players out.
Yeah.
Um, so I reckon Haaland will get between 15 and 17 goals. I think their best player is going to be Bernardo Silva. Like I
Mm.
just
But I think he's leaving.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But
Yeah.
Barcelona would have to pay 80 million euros, and
Yeah.
surely they're not going to be able to pay that. Like if they pay that,
I don't see this happening. But like lately, the news started again that Bernardo is very close to Barcelona and all this.
yeah. But I just think like
If they sold De Jong, I see it happening, of course.
maybe if they sell De Jong.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bernardo Silva, if he stays at City, I think he'll have a good season. Who do I say third? I think Son.
Mm.
But I think Christian Romero as well. I think people
Mm.
will be surprised how good Perisic is as a left wing back. But I think it'll be if I had to
It's
go.
a pure Carlo Ancelotti. Sorry, Antonio Conte signing.
Yeah, it's just a typical Antonio Conte signing. He's
Yeah.
like 33, and he's like
Yeah.
a winger who's like been used as a wing back.
The wing
So
back position. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I think Christian Romero is gonna have like a standout season, and then he's gonna be like the player, that player who like moves into that world class bracket. I can see that
Mm.
happening with Christian Romero. For
Something
who?
similar to Marcos Alonso
Oh, what
with
Perisic?
Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah, similar kind of signing. Like
Mm.
he can't really play as a fullback, but as a wing back, I reckon he'll be really good. And
Mm.
then Chelsea, who's gonna have a good? I reckon Sterling will. I think Sterling will have like a usual season where he scores between about 13 and 15, like what he
Mm.
usually does for City. He's obviously going to probably play a bit more than he does at City, just because
Yeah.
City rotate all the time. And then for Man United, I do think Rashford's actually going to come back into form. I
Mm.
think Martial, if he plays as a centre forward, will have a good season as well. But I don't think they're going to have like Ronaldo seasons last year, but I do think they'll get back to somewhere where they were before.
Mm.
I think I reckon Lissandro Martinez, he'll in the first maybe 10 games, he'll have maybe 2 or 3 where he like struggles, like just to adapt to the league, and he might make a few mistakes. I think people start like questioning him, but I think as the
Mm.
season goes on, I think he'll end up like as one of the best centre backs in the league.
You
And
think
then,
he'll play in centre back position?
yeah, I reckon he'll play as a centre back.
Uh,
Um, just because I think Ten Hag likes like a ball playing left sided centre back.
mm.
And United haven't really got one at the moment. They've got Maguire, but he's not like nowhere near as good as Sandro Martinez is in terms of his
Yeah.
passing.
Yeah.
So I reckon Sandro Martinez will have a really good season. And for Arsenal, I think Saka will probably be Arsenal's best player.
Mm.
Yeah,
I can see that happening as well.
yeah.
For Chelsea, I say Kai Havertz.
Oh yeah,
I
that's a good
think
shout.
he's going in a consistent way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this season he will score more goals if because they don't have a striker now, and he will be playing in that center forward position. So I see him scoring more and assisting more goals. For Tottenham, I think Son. Heung-min Son, of course, like last season he was the top scorer. So I think this time as well, not as much goals, but because Harry Kane will be playing from the beginning of the season, of course. So he will share some with Kane. And lastly, Manchester United, I think Sancho. Sancho started the
Oh yeah,
preseason very good.
yeah. Forgot about
So
Sancho.
yeah, I think he'll be a good factor in the Erik Ten Hag system.
Yeah, I also think Dalot will have a good season as well.
Yeah.